All praises to the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Raha Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, laboring in this truth in all sincerity. Zephaniah 1, verses 14 through 17. The great day of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is near. It is near and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet, and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung.
It is the determination of the Bulletin's Science and Security Board that humanity has not made sufficient progress on the existential risks that endanger us all. We thus move the clock forward. The Doomsday Clock is a tool for communicating how close we are to destroying the world with technologies of our own making. The risks we face from nuclear weapons, climate change, and disruptive technologies are all growing. Every second counts, and we are running out of time. It is a hard truth, but this is our reality. It is now 85 seconds to midnight. This is the closest the world has ever been to midnight.
And I also have a quick article here from CBSnews.com. Doomsday clock moves to 85 seconds to midnight, closest point to catastrophe since its debut. This was published earlier today, January 27th, 2026, at approximately 10:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Doomsday Clock, a metaphor for how close humanity is to self-annihilation, was moved to 85 seconds to midnight, Tuesday, its closest point to catastrophe since the clock made its debut nearly 80 years ago. Reason being, she mentioned humanity has not made sufficient progress on the existential risks that endanger us all, said Alexandra Bell, president and CEO of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. Last year, the Bulletin set the clock at 89 seconds to midnight. I'll scroll down a little bit further. The clock's minute hand has been moved more than 24 times in its nearly 8-decade history. The furthest the clock has been from midnight was 17 minutes. That was back in 1991. So if we fast forward now to 2026, we see that we're just 85 seconds on this theoretical clock from midnight. And we do know that once the clock strikes midnight, that is supposedly when the doomsday event will happen. Remember, this is just a theoretical clock that these scientists came up with after World War II to try to gauge or try to have an assessment as to the ways that technology have increased, which is leading humanity straight to its destruction. But remember, these things have already been mentioned. This has already been prophesied, I should say. You know, the Most High has declared these things from the beginning, so we don't really need a doomsday clock to let us know how close we are to this destruction. You know, we can gauge this through prophecy, and we can see how prophecy lines up and how current events, I should say, line up with prophecy. So The doomsday clock here is just basically something that these scientists have come up with. You know, this is their own making, basically. It's not something that you actually need. We go by biblical prophecy to see what season or the days that we're in and how close we are to the destruction and the deliverance of the Most High's elect. I'll read just a couple of more sentences out of this. Uh, let's scroll down to, let's go to the last paragraph here. Last year, the clock was moved 1 second closer to midnight, with the group saying, despite unmistakable signs of danger, national leaders and their societies have failed to do what is needed to change course. And they're not going to be able to change course. Let's fast forward here. Let's just go straight to Isaiah 46, verses 9 and 10. Remember the former things of old, for I am Elohim, and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. And so we clearly see here that this was already spoken. This was already bound to happen. This was the Most High's word going out, millennia ago, basically saying that this was how this was going to go down. So, humanity is not going to be able to change. Humanity is not going to have that, that moment of clarity or that epiphany where they just wake up one day and say, hey, we got to do better. No, this place has to be destroyed first. This has to happen in order for the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem and Yahweh Shai to be made manifest here, to be established for all eternity. So this is just a quick follow up on a video that I put up yesterday regarding the doomsday clock being updated this morning, January 27th, 2026 at 10 a.m. And the theoretical clock has gone from 89 seconds to midnight to now 85 seconds. So they pushed it up 4 seconds. And this is the closest to midnight it's been since its inception after World War II. And even though no mere mortal men or the angels or even Hamashai Yahushai himself doesn't know the exact day or time, we all have a sense of the times that we're currently in and can anticipate how close this destruction is. And like I said earlier, along with the deliverance of the Most High's elect. So that's what this clock is for. The clock, even the heathen nations, they understand, they can sense it, they can feel it, that their time is pretty much over. The time of the Gentiles is pretty much over here now, and they know it, they can sense it. And this is why they moved this clock up they moved it up 4 seconds, from 89 seconds to midnight to about 85 seconds. So, and one of the reasons why they did this is because of the threat of nuclear warfare that's about to happen. All of the so-called superpowers, you look at the United States, Russia, China, UK, etc. They all have nukes, and they're all at odds right now with Mystery Babylon, aka America. So let's look at 2 Peter here. 2 Peter chapter 3, and I'll read verses 10 through 12. But the day of Yahweh Bashem and Yahweh Shai will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Elohim, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. And that's precisely what's going on here. One of the main reasons why they moved this clock up 4 seconds is because of the threat of nuclear Armageddon, which we know in Revelation 11 and 14, the third woe cometh quickly. The second woe hath passed, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And so they understand this threat. And like I said a couple of minutes ago, the heathen understand this. These particular scientists, I'm quite sure that they are aware of what's in the scriptures. I can't prove that, but I'm pretty sure that they understand what's in the scriptures, and they know that their time is coming to an end here. So along with, the advancements of artificial intelligence, you have the issues with climate change, along with this HARP technology that they have, in which they can control and they can manipulate a lot of the weather. They're thinking that these are things of their own making, but the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai has already, you know, this is work and witchcraft that's done off the left hand side amongst the heathen here, and they know once again that their time is, pretty much over here. So I'll scroll down to verses 13 and 14. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's what I was just saying a few minutes ago. We are actually, looking forward to this. We understand that all of this stuff has to happen. This is how the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai will be established forever on earth. This place has to go first. This place has to be completely destroyed. It has to completely go down. This particular rulership that we're under, they have to fall. They have to be knocked off of their pedestal that they were placed on, and we were placed under their rulership as a punishment for our continuous breaking of the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And so I'll scroll back up here real briefly, though, to verse 10. But the day of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. And that's that nuclear fire. When it says that this place is going to melt with fervent heat, that's that nuclear fire, that thermonuclear fire. And it's not going to just be one bomb. It's not going to just be two or three bombs. It's basically going to be the entire arsenal of what these nations have. And this is what I brought out last night. This was the actual, as of this year, here are the estimated nuclear weapon inventories by country as of early 2026. So we see right here that Russia leads the pack with 5,400 to 5,500 total nukes is what they have in their arsenal. The United States is a close second, but 5,000 to 5,100. China 500 to 600. But then you also have to figure out, we know that the beast is going to come to hate the whore. We see that the beast is hating the whore right now. So that's an additional 225 from United Kingdom, an additional 290 from France. India has anywhere between 172 to 180 nukes, Pakistan 170. And these are just a few countries on the list here. We know that this is not all of the countries that have nukes, but I believe that they gave just the top 9 or 10 here. So let's go back into 2 Peter. Looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of Allahayim, where the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Once again, that is that thermonuclear fire. This place is going to be in flames. Babylon in particular is going to be totally wiped out, totally destroyed. And whatever the nukes don't touch by any chance, the chariots will be there to fix that. The chariots will basically, rain down this place with laser beams. And remember, the Most High did say he's going to put his spirit in these particular ICBMs, which is going to even magnify the amount of catastrophe, the amount of destruction that it's going to already do. Once the Most High, puts his spirit on these things, as these things are coming down over this place is headed for total fire, total nuclear destruction, and there's no way out of it. All of humanity right now can say, okay, we're going to get our act right. We're going to start doing the right thing. And, these scientists can actually not move this clock up, the amount of seconds. They can even move it back. They've moved it back a couple of times in the past. What, it doesn't matter now. Like I said, going back when we look at Isaiah 46, 9 and 10, this is what the Most High, This was already bound to happen. The Most High put his word out there. He spoke it, and a very powerful angel said amen or aman, or so be it. So there's no way to turn this back. You're not going to stop it, delay it, cancel it, postpone it. Nothing like that is going to happen. This place is going to be totally destroyed, and it has to happen in order for the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem and Yahweh Shai to be established. So I'll scroll down here. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. Yes, and that is the elect. The elect is looking forward to this. You won't hear any one of the elect or the hopeful elect out here saying, oh man, what can we do to change this? Or, let's go out there and let's try to start new businesses. Let's go out here and buy up land so that, we can build communities here amongst the heathen, and continue to do business with the heathen. We can continue to get loans and grants from the heathen in order to set up our little makeshift communities here. No, we're not looking for anything like that. The elect and the hopeful elect are actually looking forward to this. We're looking forward for the new heavens and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness, as it says in 2 Peter 3 and verse 13. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot and blameless. And so, yes, verse 14 reminds us to be diligent, to be steadfast in this, to make sure that we are being a watchman, and we're pushing out this word. We're warning people where, the scriptures make it quite clear that the Most High, Yahweh Bashem and Yahweh Shai, is very patient. So this is still right now, even as close as we are to this destruction, we understand that there is a possibility that there may be still members of the elect, of the hopeful elect, who still have not heard this word in its entirety, or possibly even, maybe on, straddling the fence, so to speak, as to, okay, this particular camp or this particular camp. But there's only one camp that, goes into prophecy, relentlessly, that keep pushing out the prophecies, regardless of how sweet or how bitter they are. So there's only one camp. So in an effort to make sure that we push this word out, and we understand that the internet does the heavy lifting. That's what we understand, that the internet does the heavy lifting for us. It's our responsibility to just push the word out, in case that there are any members of the elect or hopeful elect who still have not come across this word, or maybe it's something that they need to hear, that the Most High is patient. And so, you pray that, this goes out and it reaches the ears that it's supposed to reach, and that the hopeful elect have, if they have not come across this word as of now, that they will come across it in time, for that deliverance, not to be caught up in that particular destruction. So with that being said, I pray this has been edifying and reaches the ears it's supposed to reach. Shalom.